Do you know what the best part about Monday is for me? Not only trying to remember what I said on Friday during previews and predictions, which can be tough because the weekends are pretty busy, but also to convince you that Mike K was actually the one that said, we should title it, I bet you $100 Mourinho will win. So he owes you the $100 each, not me. I swear.
Yeah, sorry guys, I didn't think that one through. I don't think I have $100 on me, but let me just check my wallet. I can give you what's in there. A Warm Baller sticker.
Okay, fine, I said it was a good idea to title it that, and it is my name on the channel, so I am ultimately responsible, but I don't have that kind of money. I played in MLS my whole career before the money got good here. So let's just focus on the weekend and rewind instead. And we're gonna start with me saying Juventus and Inter Milan were going to draw because that's what they did. So ring one up for this handsome face right here, Mike K. And actually, let's get a counter going. Right 1, wrong 0. Also, for what it's worth, Juventus should have won this game, not only because Mario Mandzukic missed a couple of pretty clear-cut chances, but because their defense had their best game of the season. I mean, Inter and their fantastic attacking players didn't create anything, which kind of reminded me of the lack of creativity that the Seattle Sounders had in the MLS Cup final this weekend, because I believe they only got 2 relatively non-dangerous shots on goal over 90 minutes against Toronto FC, and Toronto FC won this game 2-0 for their first ever league title, and maybe even more impressively, they became the first team in MLS history to win the domestic treble by having the best record in the league after 34 games, which earns you the Supporters Shield, and it does look like a shield. It's pretty cool. And then they won the Canadian FA Cup, or Copa de Canada, or whatever they call it, and now they won MLS Cup. So a big congratulations to them, because it is an incredible achievement, and it now definitely puts them in the conversation as one of the best ever teams in MLS history, behind my 2001 MLS Cup winning team, if not the best. Also, a big thank you to everyone that stopped by my live stream during the MLS Cup final. It was awesome to hang out with all of you for a few hours. And also, I predicted that Toronto would win this game. So please, Mike K, change the counter to right 2. Wrong 0. And then there was Real Madrid versus Sevilla, where I say Cristiano Ronaldo was going to put the team on his back and score a penalty, and that 5 goals were going to be scored in this game. And I was right, baby. Even though Cristiano's penalty should have been saved, it was not very good. So when you watch the highlight, you might want to look away. But full credit to Madrid, because they were unstoppable in the first half, scoring 5 goals in the first 40 minutes. So if they can continue to find a way to keep up that type of form, or if they can just play against Sevilla every week, then maybe, just maybe, they will still have a chance to win the league. That is, if Barcelona decides not to play for like 17 straight games. Also, Mike K, put that counter to right 3, wrong 0, because I nailed it. Now, switching gears a little bit to the negative, I want to highlight my big losers of the weekend, and they're going to be in no particular order, so you don't have to read into this. The first one is Borussia Dortmund manager Peter Bosz, who watched his side play as poorly as they have all season in the first half, only to not rebound in the second half and lose to a team, Werder Bremen, 2-1, that they hadn't lost to at home in over a decade. So to the surprise of no one, Peter Bosz is gone. Adios, peace out, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Only 5 months in charge, and after leading Dortmund to one of their best starts in club history, with 19 points from their first 7 league games, and now Bosz is no longer the boss, which makes me wonder why they fired Thomas Tuchel again. I mean, I heard it wasn't the players. I heard it was someone in upper management, and if that's the case, then maybe that guy should be fired too. And then the next loser is Chelsea manager Antonio Conte, who watched his side again underperform after a midweek Champions League game, which seems to be a bit of a theme with the Blues this season, to lose to David Moyes and West Ham. And actually, I'm not sure what would hurt more, to say you lost to David Moyes or to say you lost to West Ham, because one is a meme and the other is a club that has been very crappy this season and almost as bad as my Newcastle, who have sucked the biggest of donkey balls these last 2 months, and it's embarrassing. Come on, Rafa Benitez and the players, get it together. Anyway, back to Conte. After this loss, he conceded that they will not win the league this season, which, thank you, Captain Obvious. You're 11 points back and you haven't really shown any real spark in trying to defend your title, so it feels like something more is going on. Like Conte has potentially lost the confidence of the players with his player selections, like rolling out Bakayoko every single game, who hasn't been as good as advertised when he joined from Monaco in the summer, which led to Nemanja Matic being expendable, and then he ultimately left the club, which I think was a terrible decision. And even more terrible was the decision to let him go to Manchester United. And now the teams have figured out how to play against his 3-4-3 formation, and I'm talking about Conte's patented 3-4-3 formation, even though it's more of a 3-5-2 this season. Conte is either too stubborn to adjust it, or he's not getting the most out of his players, or both. And I could see him being gone at the end of the season if he doesn't do anything of consequence in the Champions League. And loser number 3 is Jose Mourinho. Now listen, I love the guy, and I think he will and should go down as one of the best managers of this era. But for him to say that Manchester City got lucky for beating his United 2-1 at Old Trafford yesterday, it's just too much. So come on, Jose. Your team had 35% possession, which I'm slightly okay with if your counterattack game is on point, but it wasn't. So even if Ederson wouldn't have saved Romelu Lukaku's point-blank shot with his neck tattoo, or even if the referee would have called a penalty in Ander Herrera's favor, United didn't deserve to win this. And sure, we could argue that getting the 3 points is the most important thing no matter how you do it. But for me, letting your opponent dictate how the game is going to be played while you park the bus at home in front of your supporters is unacceptable. It is so unacceptable and not a worthy performance of a team that is trying to win a title. And it pisses me off because look at the talent on United's roster. And I don't care whether Paul Pogba plays in this game or not. They have the talent to compete, and it just felt like they were reactionary as opposed to anticipatory. Is that a word? And does it fit there? I don't know, it sounds fancy. Also, I know it's hard for the managers to say all the right things minutes after they come off the field after a tough loss. And one day if I ever coach, I know it'll be a challenge to keep my composure in that same situation. Get out of here! But I hope that if it was obvious that my team got their asses handed to them, I would own up to it instead of saying things like, they got lucky, or it's the referee's fault. That's just lame. But do you know what isn't lame? David Silva. The 31-year-old Spanish playmaker has been quietly in top form for City this season with his new aerodynamic hair. And with all due respect to Romelu Lukaku and his 2 fantastic assists in this one for City, Silva was my man of the match against United, and I just wanted to give him some love. And speaking of love, can we give some to Tigres, who found a way to become champions of Liga MX again after going down a goal in leg 2 to then score 2 goals against a Monterrey team that hadn't given up 2 goals at home all season. So like Toronto FC in MLS, Tigres has spent a lot of money, but they've spent it smartly, and they have a great manager in Tuco Ferretti who knows how to manage big egos and to get those big egos to work together and win. So congrats to them. And honestly, I wish we could have a Tigres versus Toronto FC North American final. And yes, I know that could possibly happen in the CONCACAF Champions League, but it would be cool to see them go head to head while they're both in top form and not 3 or 4 months from now when things and rosters have changed. I'm just throwing that out there because it's a really good idea. And I'm also throwing out there This Week in Neymar, which saw the Brazilian superstar suspended for PSG's home game against Lille, so he watched from the stands as PSG ran out 3-1 winners behind a solid 1-goal, 1-assist performance from Angel Di Maria, who started in Neymar's absence, which now gives PSG a 9-point lead at the top of the table, which means they're probably going to win Liga. I mean, that's pretty clear, I think. Also, I heard Neymar flew home to attend to a family matter in Brazil, so I hope everyone and everything is okay with him and his family. Kind of like I hope everyone and everything is okay in Liverpool after they gave up a soft penalty late in the Merseyside derby to draw 1-1 with Everton, which is a real shame because Jurgen Klopp and his men deserved all 3 points in this one after Mohamed Salah scored another banger that should have stood up as the game winner. However, and I don't know if you've seen the replay yet or not, and if you haven't, we will drop it along with all the other highlights that we're talking about with all the games in the description, like always. It was 100% not a penalty, but Dejan Lovren's approach to close down Everton's Dominic Calvert-Lewin is, and I'm trying to put this politely, it was not good, it was clumsy, it was foolish, because Calvert-Lewin and the ball were going away from goal. And Lovren looks like he's trying to make a play on the ball, and I just don't understand why. Calvert-Lewin isn't going anywhere, and if he does end up maintaining possession, he's going to be going towards the corner flag. So by Lovren getting that tight with his hands on Calvert-Lewis's back, it just gives the ref the possibility of making a call, and he did. So in summation, it's still not a penalty for me, okay? But Lovren needs to be smarter with his positioning. And speaking about positioning, I have 2 shout outs to give here. One good, one not so good. But let's go with the good weekend. First, which goes to Barcelona, Valencia, and Atletico Madrid, who all got big results to maintain their first, second, and third place position in the La Liga table. Also, a special mention has to go to Leo Messi for not only dropping some unbelievable dimes against Villarreal this weekend. I mean, his passing was next level in this game, and actually none were finished by the other Barca players, unfortunately, so you probably won't see him if you're just seeing the top highlights. But he matched Gerd Muller's long-standing record for the most goals with one club. Now, Muller had 525 goals and 572 appearances for Bayern Munich, which is a record that stood for almost 40 years because it is mind-blowing. Well, Messi has 525 goals in his 602 appearances, so he will most definitely break it very soon. So an early congratulations to him on that. And also, Gerd Muller was a stud back in the day. I mean, those are some incredible numbers. And now for the not so good or bad weekend. It goes to 4 teams. And the first 2 are from Serie A, and they are Roma and Napoli, who both had a great chance to gain some ground on Inter Milan and Juventus after those 2 clubs tied 0-0. And the high-flying, high-scoring Napoli couldn't score against Fiorentina at home, and they drew 0-0 as well. And then Roma couldn't hit the back of the net in their 0-0 draw on the road versus the Flying Donkeys of Chievo. And it's just got to be pretty disappointing for both of those clubs. And one of the other teams is Southampton, who let Olivier Giroud score a late game-tying goal, which is all that guy does. He scores crazy late goals. So you might want to mark him in the box on crosses when he comes on as a sub Southampton. And then the last team is PSV Eindhoven, who got whatted by Ajax after giving up 3 goals in a 12-minute span in the second half to lose 3-0, which now sees their lead at the top of the Eredivisie cut to only 5 points. So we'll see how they respond. And speaking of responding, I need to respond to your comments by picking a winner of the Warm Baller starter kit for who predicted the right scoreline for the City United game. And there were a lot of you who got it right, since 2-1 is a good score to use as a prediction, and I should know because I use it a lot. But there can only be one winner out of all of you correct predictors, and it is, drum that roll for me please, Titanium Cheetah, with an awesome name as well. Congratulations, TC. So hit me up on the YouTube messages or on my Facebook page or on Twitter or Instagram, or I'm just everywhere. So just come find me and I'll hook you up with the goods. All right, that is it. I am done talking. So be on the lookout for a new career mode tomorrow, and then my reaction to my Champions League group stage predictions after that. I know those are always fun. And then I'll be doing my Champions League knockout round predictions very soon after that, because I know you all love my predictions. Later.